Welcome to episode 8 of Mom Can You Not? My name is Coco and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Mom.
Hi, y'all.
How are you doing today, babes?
Oh, I'm fantastic today. I've got so much to say, guys. I've got tons and tons of things to say.
I can't believe we're on episode 8 already.
Thank you to the 1,000 people. I've never spoken to 1,000 people in real life. So to think that there's actually 1,000 people out there who tune in every episode we make, I'm grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And you know what? We don't want to come here with excuses, but we do try our best to be consistent. It's just that, things happen in the meantime, but we are trying our best to be consistent.
We are going to continue being consistent because, you love our chats and we want to continue chatting. And, it's better than listening to 4 men with mics. We'll get into that.
I've always said to Mom, right, I don't like men sitting around with a microphone just talking because nothing good ever comes out of those conversations.
But the thing is, you know what? I've been one of those pick-me's, I've never found anything wrong with men with those little mics just chatting away because I've actually thought they were very funny up until something happened recently where, some of my very favorite male podcasters were being roasted. I'll not say any names. But there's some, and now I'm thinking, based on that, I started thinking on some of the people I've seen and some of the hosts on male podcasts, how problematic they are. But I've never seen it like that because I'm a bit of a pick-me. I do like my men.
That's not a pick-me. Say that, babe.
Yeah. So how have you been? How has your week been? And what has been happening in your life? Comment down below. Tell us what you've been enjoying. If you've been in love, if you've broken up, if you're in a trash gang, comment down below. Tell us what you've been doing. Because I'm just about to tell you what I've been up to.
Okay, so this week's episode, we're talking about birth, pregnancy, and the first few months of having a child. And this is the inspiration behind this episode was Mom loves talking about my birth story, the one with Charlotte. she explains it so graphically.
I always say, I was raised in ghetto and but seeing my daughter giving birth really humbled me as a woman. I'm telling you, because when you give birth, your own experience is different because you don't see what's happening in your lower extremities. You don't witness it. You feel the pain, but you don't actually see the graphics of it. This time I got to be at the bottom and fam. Because the first time, I've been there, I've been very privileged, actually honored to be present for all my 3 grandkids' births, from Zaya, Jojo, and Shiloh. I've been there. The other 2 were C-sections, so I was at the top of the business end, right? with the anesthesiologist, just, chilling, and those people try to make you so comfortable. And there's always that big, I don't like saying that word, don't she? Because to me, I can never, you know what? I can't say SHEET because it doesn't sound like, it sounds like something else. So I don't like saying it. Even when I fill in my time
sheet,
I always say, I'm doing my, my time. I'm doing my time because I don't want to say that word. Anyway, so they put that big
sheet
in between you and the business end, so you don't get to see what's happening there. You're there with your daughter talking, wiping her brow, so you just don't know what they're doing, right? So in this particular instance, because Coco decided for Shiloh she was going to go all natural.
Yeah, I was adamant I wanted a natural birth. I had a C-section the first time.
Yeah, so she was like,
and the more C-sections you have, the more high risk it becomes. So I was like, oh no, this time I want to have a natural birth. Yes, I was watching all these people on social media.
And the thing is, because she kept on saying, she was practicing hypnotic birth, all the breathing, and we're going to do, it was supposed to be a home birth initially, right?
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't going to be a home birth when at 3 a.m. I heard her bellowing like a cow. She literally was like, and I was like, when you wake up like at 3 in the morning and you just don't know what to do because you're disorientated the first 10 seconds of your life. I'm thinking, am I back in Africa? Am I in the village? Why is a cow in my house? Because I could get. So
when the contraction started, I took paracetamol. Then I told Mom, and she burst out in tears, laughing so hard, like
because when she said she was like, so obviously at this point you don't know, you don't care what you're wearing because I was asleep, right? And you hear the bellowing and. Initially, you don't know if it's an animal that has entered your house. You don't know where you are in the world. Are you back in Africa? Are you in the UK? You don't know for the first 15 seconds. So you just literally get into fight mode. So I woke up and I just grabbed the nearest thing that was nearer to me and went to where the sound was coming from. Oh yeah, she was in labor. But I think initially she didn't realize. She just thought it was just some pain. So she goes, I've taken paracetamol and the pain is not going away. So obviously you have to have some form of some comic relief from the whole situation. So I burst into laughter. So anyway, we call in the midwives. Shout out to the home birth team in Leicester. They're fantastic. They do try their best. But especially if you're running a service that, and I know this working in health and social care actually, that if you're running a service that's questionable, you want to minimize risk because you know that already people are thinking, why are you even doing this? Why are you giving people an opportunity to give birth in their own? So the home birth team are a very tiny team who are very, supportive of mothers giving birth in their natural habitat. But obviously, because of the nature of the politics around what they do, they're very limited to how long they can keep things going. So anyway, they came.
And I had to literally fight for the right to have a home birth. They were like, oh, you've had a C-section before, you're high risk, so you can't have a C-section. And your iron levels
were rubbish as well. But they were very supportive and helped her advocate for what she wanted. And that first experience, I think, although she couldn't actually give birth at home, the fact that she had the comfort of her own home, the comfort of her own support network for that long before we had to go into hospital, I'm very appreciative of it. Because also home birth is not just about the actual giving birth, it's the processes in it, the process leading to. Because I think one thing about hospitals is they want you to give that birth and baby, they want you to give birth and leave.
Yeah.
So you are really rushed. But I think the home birth team took it to as far as they could before it became too dangerous for you, which I'm very appreciative of. They allowed you to risk take until it became dangerous. So at that point, they said, you know what, we've done our best, you need to go. Because I think at that point, you'd gone through 4 tanks of gas and air. And
it was so hard.
Yeah.
Like, what?
And you know what? In my head, that song, that Cardi B song, it says it goes up and it's stuck.
It was up, then it's stuck.
It kept on playing in my head.
I was giving back.
It is up and it's stuck. It is up and it's stuck. So anyway, we ended up in a hospital ward, which is what you didn't want. But the thing is, also because I work in health and social care, and I'm also a user of health and social care here. So I kind of am in a better position of knowing what I can and cannot say when it comes to things. So when we got there, she was still adamant that she wanted to give birth naturally, and that is what we were going to advocate for. No one was going to, until maybe it got to a point where I thought, no, I'm going to lose my daughter. We were going to push for that. So we get there, fam. If as long as I live, I do not ever want to see an angry VJ. When you look at, that's one thing men, mothers, support partners should never see. I think if my son-in-law had seen how angry that VJ should never.
Know what? When we were back at home, because he was just making tea for people.
She, even when, because I didn't end up, because
I was like, why is everybody avoiding?
Okay, so Coco is married, right? Coco is married, and the husband is very active in everything. But when I said to, what he did? He sort of like distributed duties himself. Was like, oh, I need to pick. He started, planning to pick Jojo from nursery, and that he was going to be at home for real. Taking those duties that absolved him from going. Because obviously, also he's a doctor, and I know he's seen this, and I think he didn't want to see it for himself personally, seeing his wife give birth. So he just started. When we were there when the home birth team were there, it was me, the midwife, my sister Tammy came at some point, and he was there making us drinks, making us comfortable. I was like, where are you going? And it was just like, oh, Mama, do you want a cup of tea? And then you close the door as soon as you said that. At one point, I said to him, why are you not here supporting? I was like, oh no, I think you guys have got this. So when it came going to hospital, I said to him, you need to go. He was like, oh no, I think I'll stay for Jojo and do whatever. So I ended up going with her.
And I'm a mommy's girl, so it was for the best.
So anyway, we went. But seeing what I've seen, guys, I've been in the trenches. I saw an angry vagina. And I think it sort of like has got this look on it. If I was to think of it as a human being, it would be like, like literally like start on me just now. And it was like the most calm and angry VJJ I've ever seen. So this OBGYN doctor comes in, right? Because obviously they like to rush things. So they were like, you know what? We can actually feel hair, because they're doing the thing where they measure your centimeters. It's like your baby is in the birth canal. That's where they are, and they're stuck, and they're up. And
her head was like this, and it needed to be like this.
Yeah,
that's why she was stuck.
So they were like, we can actually feel her hair. If you could, if we let you could actually feel it. So I'm planning. This is the OBGYN. There's no drugs, nothing. I'm planning to just pull the baby out. I was like, no. You're not going to do that. Because she literally came in with her gloves ready to just yank this baby out. I was like, no, you're not doing that. So she's looking at me like, why are you, I said, I'm the mom. I'm her mom. You're not touching her. I would actually slap your hands off if you try it. Don't do it. She's like, oh, because there's no need for her to go to theater. I said, do what you need to do. Give her all the pain medication you need to give her. You're not touching her. And it's at one point, I swear JJ winked at me, like to say thank you.
She said it was this color. I said
it was like, no, like a cherry plum burgundy color. And you're just like, why is it this color? Why is it so angry? And I was thinking it looked like it was burning, like sizzling from the pain. And this woman is threatening guys to touch this already angry VJJ and just pull a baby. I said, no, you're not doing that, fam. Anyway, she ended up going into theater. I went too. But I stayed, the other side. They did what they did, pulled the baby out.
Yeah, they gave me an episiotomy.
Yeah.
With the forceps.
Yeah. And because
I got an epidural though. The epidural was good.
Because at that point, you were starting to talk and you're sort of like, because the thing is, when Coco is in pain, she doesn't talk. She just, focuses. And the pain threshold, I don't think it's out of this world. I've never seen anyone who is very calm. And when I get any pain, I want to fight. And my mouth becomes very loud. I want to throw hands. I just don't like containing my pain. I want to, distribute it in the way I speak, the way, I just want to do something, but she's not like that. Because at some point when we're back home and she was contracting, my sister and I were being very insensitive because we're just chatting away.
Yeah.
And she was like, guys, if you're not going to be quiet, can you leave the room? We actually expelled out of this living room.
They were there having jokes as I'm fighting for my life.
I know. And so at that point, we just decided not to chat. We just sat there, just being quiet. But,
like you'd been told off.
Yeah. And you just think, it was a different environment as well, because bear in mind, I was there, I was Coco Support Network, I was there looking at FJJ, literally squaring up to it and just thinking, oh my goodness me, this is my daughter, there's my grandbaby somewhere in this birth canal, and they're saying that they want to yank her out. And I'm just thinking, how uncomfortable is she at this particular moment? And also, it's a difficult position to be in, because you're not in any pain. You're just there being supportive. You have to validate the pain, but you also know that the pain is necessary because a human being is coming. So it's a weird place to be in. Yeah. But it stays in my mind rent free. If I close my eyes, I see this burgundy, cherry colored
Mom tells this story regularly.
Yeah, because at some point I have to actually talk about
it.
Yeah, because it traumatizes me. I look at her and I think, I've seen you in some of the most scary spaces. It was like out of a horror movie, something that you could see out of, like American horror story. Yeah. I think birth is too traumatic for people who intend. Don't ever go into a birth ward. That's why men faint. It makes you really queasy.
Yeah, birth is a trip, but I think what's even worse than birth is postpartum. And how would you describe your postpartum experiences?
I think this is the biggest problem with our communities regarding postpartum. We do not understand, what was termed or coined a long time ago as postpartum baby blues, right? We don't understand postpartum depression. We don't understand it. It's non-existent. I think there are quite a few people I've known personally who've gone through postpartum depression, and they've been told, and all this, we like to label things the way we understand them. So it's something that people suffer with in silence, because no one validates you. You know that, you've just given birth and you're crying for your man. But I don't think it's that. I think it's the emotions, it's the physical pain. Because bear in mind, you've gone through a very traumatic, God knows how many hours trying to push this human being out. They are now out. They've got their own needs. They need for you to nurse them, change them, bathe them, but you're still in pain. You're not yourself. There's the hormone imbalance. All of us,
the drugs.
There's the withdrawal. If you've had any drug therapy from having C-sections and stuff like that, so you're withdrawing from all these epidurals, all these antibiotics, all these things they pump into your body. Your body is processing that. Your body is processing the hormones. Your body is trying to take care of another newborn and trying to heal at the same time. And all these processes are happening simultaneously. You cannot say today, I'm forgetting about the pain because I'm busy flushing out the epidural and all the other drugs they pumped in me. Or you can say today, I'm focusing on the hormones that are starting to try to balance themselves out. And it takes a long time. Apparently, it can take up to 18 months before you actually go back to your baseline. And especially if you're married now and you're living with your in-laws, they still expect you to, after a few weeks, you're expected to be now in the kitchen cooking for the whole family. Yeah. And be intending. And after 6 weeks, your husband is now waiting to to take you to Pound Town. So, you've got a lot of people have got expectations. You've got this one wanting to suckle you. You've got your in-laws wanting you to cook an amazing dinner. If you are a mother of multiple children, your children are going, where's my dinner? You've got so many things going on. And no one is validating all that. This is why you find many new moms, or in first time or second time moms, actually losing it because the support network is non-existent. Okay, fair enough, the baby is out. Why are you still behaving the way you're doing? So you should just bounce back and get back to normal. But they're forgetting that for over 10 months of your life, you were preparing to give birth. Your body was preparing for it. So why are you expected to give 9 months to child
Curation.
But you're expected to spring back in 24 hours. It's a very, I don't think we are kind to new moms as we should be. And that comes, back home, I think the only way I think people used to do that is the husband would be like, I can't understand you. I'm taking you back to your parents. They can deal with that. In that process, Kunsungirwa. So you'd go back to your mom so that your family can sort of like help you the best way they know. But so it was in a way, it was helpful because there's not that much of an expectation when you're back home because your mom, your siblings, everybody's taking care of you. The issue is when you don't have that support network and you're married and you're on your own, especially in the UK. I think many...
Or if you're a single mom.
You're a single man. Mom, many... young mothers, I think, go through postpartum, particularly is the loneliness, the lack of support, the not understanding. You can have professional support, but bear in mind there's long waiting lists for things like this. So there's an expectation that the majority of self-care is resting upon you. So you have to make it work for yourself.
And depending on what kind of midwives you have, a lot of these ones, like after you give birth, they really just want to tick you off their list.
Yeah.
So they're very much like, it's very regimented and tick box. It's not as if they're going to sit there and unpack your life story.
Yeah.
They don't have capacity to do that.
They don't have capacity, and there's not enough midwives, There is a huge waiting list. That's why maternity care in this country is really, really poor. I remember when I gave birth, it was a totally different experience because I've done it here and back home. Back home, as much as, those women were, if you've given birth back home during my time in the 90s, you'd understand what I'm talking about. There was no confidentiality. There was no, you'd have the midwives shouting at you, telling you want to kill Mwana, I'll kill you before you kill that baby. You have to push and whatever. But, it was a different era. I remember because I was a teenage mom, and when I had my what are they called? There's the prenatal, that's the word I was looking for. The prenatal care was very interesting because we had diet, exercise, because we used to go every Tuesday to play netball. Can you imagine pregnant women playing netball? It was a nice community because we got to know each other. And right at the end, because you start dropping off like flies because you start seeing them when you're 7 months going every week to play netball and doing that. And then you get to the end, you don't see so had a baby last week, so had a baby this week and whatever. And it was a community. There wasn't much in terms of midwifery and medical input. Most of it was societal, communal, and we used to do things like gadzira masuo, where your mother-in-law or your mother would get you elephant dung. I'm sure it was an elephant dung. Where would this elephant dung have been found? Somewhere in the middle of Chungwisa. So the science was you had to burn this elephant dung, stand spread.
Where did they get the elephant?
That's what I'm saying. It wasn't. There is no way there was elephant dung. It was
somebody else's, maybe cow.
No, it was no, not even cow dung, because cow dung is very different.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what it was. It was dung of some sort. And you'd prepare the baby's passage so that the baby would just out. So you'd get the cow dung, burn it, stand with your legs wide apart over the what do you call it, the fumes or the smoke, and you'd be sort of like encouraging you to go up your birth canal, so that like if an elephant can give birth without any intervention, so surely if you use its dung, it's going to help you go wide apart. That was that. And we used to do things like, I didn't do it, but I knew people who did that. Like use soap on your hands, shove it up,
That sounds like a recipe for BV.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, but people used to do things like that. It was called Tugadzirama. So there was a lot of, societal intervention, a lot of things that we used to do amongst each other. There wasn't medical. And I think it worked because many people would do things like that and give birth naturally, and it's something that we did. So it was very, the community, your mothers, people helped you along the way. So you were never alone. Yeah, you were never alone in that respect.
Because you've told me stories of like women giving birth like from the rural areas, and it's just the most natural.
I remember I witnessed not one, not two, not many, quite a few, births. One of my aunts, my uncle's wife, we went to the fields right in the morning, and she was actually in labor. I didn't know because when you're younger, you don't know many things. Again, the other thing is there's an element of sacredness about pregnancy when we were growing up. You just see your mom come back with a baby because you'd be wearing this oversized clothes. No one would ever bother to tell you that your mom is pregnant. So I didn't even know that this woman was in labor. So we go to the fields. She's plowing with everybody and she's just getting on with it. Then at one point she calls me and my other cousin to bring a cloth, a Zambia. Then she just lay on the Zambia, right? And then she asked us, I think with the two of us, God, we could have been 10 and 12. She asked us to hold her legs open. And obviously, you just spring into what you're told to do because she's a grown woman. She knows what she's doing. She just lies there. And within, 30 minutes, she'd given birth. And this baby came out. She wraps her. God. And then she goes... So I'm too shocked to say anything or do anything because at this point, because my other cousin was now, I don't know what's with me in the business end of this thing. So I just stopped holding her legs because I think she knew exactly what she was doing. So I just went to just speculate and see what's going on. And then she goes, what can you see? And she was lovely about it. I've got so much respect for my aunt. Shout out Auntie Julie. She's always been very good and she's always rode with me. So she was like, she was actually in all that pain and all that childbirth and all that miracle she was creating. She was like, you are looking, what can you see? I was like, look on two foods. She can say, I think my Ninoako Sekuroko is almost coming, right? And she was so lovely about it. And then when the baby came out and, and all the other things that come with it, I'm like, she's coming out with water, Mbuya. What do I do? She's like, oh, don't worry. Then she said to my other cousin, can you go and call so and so?
Yeah.
Obviously, to cut the umbilical cord and everything, But she gave birth naturally. And then she went home. I think she only rested for 4 days and she was back in the field again. So that was, I think, the expectation that childbirth is going to be like that for everyone. Because now I remember her sister-in-law, my other uncle's wife, came and she really struggled with the prenatal stuff, the postnatal stuff. And people used to say, compare her to my other aunt and say, why can't you be like her? Because she had like 8 babies and that was her. She'd give birth in the morning, 4 days later she'd be back in the fields plowing like a plowing woman. So people were like, why can't you be like her? And there's that element to be that, but she probably was that, but that's not what we should expect for every other mother to say, because she gives birth in the morning and she's back in the field in the afternoon doing push-ups and cooking for the whole family. That was her. And maybe childbirth came as easy and natural to her. I don't know, because we've up to now, she's an older woman now, her kids are grown.
I feel like Shona culture is really hard on women though. Like, that thing that they say that if you cry while you're giving birth,
or if the baby, this I've witnessed. Actually, now I was married at this point. I was married and my aunt was giving, my sister-in-law actually was giving birth, right? And people were saying, okay, you should, when you cry, you can cry, but tears shouldn't come out. When you're screaming, once tears come out, Noroi, right? How can tears be coming out?
I've never practiced witchcraft a day in my life, but tears falling from my eyes now means...
giving birth, or like when the baby is not coming as they should, like how long it you are supposed to confess who you slept with because the baby is not coming out because you were a hoe. If that's the reason why this is happening. So there's a lot of stigma,
I've heard somebody say that on Tinashe Mugabe, that they were like, oh, and when she was giving birth, Like, I've heard that statement before.
Yeah, or when you give birth, the baby will not feed from you. You're supposed to confess because the baby aswims in Zairoro. You're trying to bring a baby into.
And people genuinely believe this.
They do. And you know, the funny thing was, actually, this I witnessed, guys. If you've witnessed something similar, or all these birth-related myths and, you know, superstitions, tell me about it, because I really am interested, because this lives rent-free in my head. My sister-in-law, right, not from my immediate family, she was a cousin basically, so she was giving birth and the baby wouldn't come out, and they kept on saying to her, confess, and eventually she did. She listed all these men, fam. She listed quite a lot.
She was cheating.
She was doing the uns with, you know, but I don't think they were within the period that she got pregnant. But she just, you know when you get to a point where people are just saying confess, she just listed, and you know, as soon as she finished, the baby came out, like literally. So I was thinking, is it a coincidence or what is it?
A coincidence.
Probably it was. But anyway, yeah. So there are things like that. There's so many things that are surround, which brings us, because we've got a dilemma, don't we?
Yeah, dilemma.
Yeah, because one of you guys, you lovely guys, because we were not going to do dilemmas, but I think this one is an interesting one because it ties in with what we are talking about.
Okay, so we've got dilemma 1. So if you guys want to send in any dilemmas, you can email me at karinsky@gmail.com and we'll try and solve your dilemmas. But you guys have been begging to have your problem solved by my wise old elf here. So it says, my husband and I are married and I'm currently 8 months pregnant with our first child. And my husband is very traditional and as per Shona customs, Kunsungirwa. I currently live 2 hours away from my husband. The day in Kunsungirwa, he blocked me off all his socials. I have a ghost Snapchat account, which I use to stalk him.
Good girl.
My issue is I'm always seeing him outside with his single friends, and one of his friends is a serial cheater, and their friendship has blossomed since I left. If I ask him what he's been up to, he just says, not too much, just working. When I ask him if he's seen any of his friends, he says, I'm too busy to socialize. I have found out he has spoken to my parents and he has asked to extend my stay until the baby is 3 months, even though we never discussed this. My mother has already agreed since she thinks it's a great idea, but I know for a fact he is doing this so he can enjoy his freedom and avoid being a father. My plan is to go back to my house and go against what the families have said to protect my marriage. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, not at all. The first thing you did very well.
Okay, start with explaining Kunsungirwa.
Okay, so Kunsungirwa, right? It's a Shona custom whereby when you're big, I think I spoke about it earlier on. When you're nearer to your due date, you are sent back home. It's actually Sungirwa. This man literally just dumped this girl with the mom. Because Kunsungirwa cheko under Shona customs, you know, he took a break basically. What is just done is use the big word Kunsungirwa, just dropped her off at the mom's to be babysat by the moms whilst he goes out whoring. Because there's not enough, I'm going to sound very controversial.
So it's when you go to your parents when you're pregnant?
Oh, no, let me explain this.
Okay.
I'm going to sound very controversial. Most of these Shona customs we are trying to do in the UK, there's not enough people to participate in those Shona customs. So what we are doing is glorified babysitting, just taking breaks from marriages under the guise of Shona, right? So this man is saying, Akasungira this girl. You need a goat to go and sungira the person. You need to kill the goat. You need to roast the goat, and your uncles need to come with you to sungira, right? And kanawaga sungirwa, right? There has to be aunts, uncles, and everything. It's a big thing, right? So what we are doing is we are cosplaying culture to start off with. We are literally cosplaying culture because we don't have enough players. I don't know now, probably with all the influx of COSs we've come in. Before there was not enough people to do the whole masungiro as they're supposed to do. So people, what they do is when they want to duck out of their marriages, they just go and plug a Shona custom and say dakusungira, dakusungira, right? Okay, Kunsungirwa, fair enough, right? The other thing that you need, you need to do is, when it's done properly, the roast, whatever is done, and you stay, probably her mom goes to shift. So she's literally in that house by herself. She's still cooking for herself, because the whole point is that Kunsungirwa, you're literally taking a break and people are taking care of you. In this country, I can't see a mother and your sisters just sitting at home cooking for you whilst you have your feet up. You know why? I know. Bills have to be paid. I know. Live in this country. I can't take time off to Koko Asungirwe. What will we eat? Exactly. So the whole point is just literally taking your wife to your mom's, to your mother-in-law, and so that you can have time to her. But my girl is very clever, because she's got a burner account, so she's stalking your ass. She knows exactly what you're up to. So I think in this case, this girl are now Sungirwa. So you can tell your parents that you're picking up your bag. Because unless all the things that I've said have happened, it was literally your husband dropping you to be babysat by your mom, who probably cannot even do it properly because she's working. So what you need to do is take your bag and go back home and sit with your man. And because he impregnated you, he's supposed to be there to see the business end, like I did, see that rose-colored, cherry-colored VJJ, and go through the whole process with you. Because what he's doing is he's using culture, tradition as an excuse to go outside and spend his single time. And why is he extending? I've never heard of an extension to Masungiro.
How long is it supposed to last?
Well, you discuss it. Like sometimes some people go back. It's very determinant on the family, right? And also it shouldn't be too long. It really shouldn't be too long, because there has to be some bonding time between you as a family. So now why is he putting 3 months over? You've gone at 8 weeks, at 8 months, right? That's about 32, 34 weeks. So you're going to be there for the next 6 weeks before you give birth, right? Then
that's like 5 months, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's literally planned. How can you be away from your husband for 5 months? What is he trying to say? And it's also, the other thing is, it's not being done in good faith. Because why is he lying about his goings, innings and goings, and why did he block you on social media? Because he doesn't want you to know that he's outside. Because if he's not, if it's harmless, you'd go, I was with my friend John over the weekend, we went so and so. He's lying,
because he knows he was outside.
He was outside. So I think personally, pick your bag. And if your mom says, Wakasungirwa, why are you going back? Say, no, Andina, this is some cosplay we are doing, because there's not enough, it wasn't done the right way. So I can go back if I want to. It was lovely, hanging out with your mom and going back. Go back to your marriage. And then if he wants to do it in your face, then he can do it in your face. Because the other thing men do, which irritates the bejesus, men who cheat on women who are pregnant are pussies.
Yeah.
Because if you want to cheat on me, wait until I've given birth and I'm back to myself and my whole self, and then we can see how things go. Because now I'm vulnerable. I've got this big, huge pregnancy, a fat nose. I'm hormonal.
You're physically vulnerable. And emotionally vulnerable.
But shout out to Cardi B, man. Cardi B did not care. She got a lick back while she was pregnant.
But then he just turned around and he was like, I won. You're my baby mom.
Nah, he didn't win anything. And this is the thing about men, right? They think, because when I was growing up, I know this sounds very vulgar, but people know what I'm saying. There used to be this group of men who used to say, ndakamzadza.
What does that mean?
You can do whatever. Yeah, you can do whatever, but look, it's me. There's nothing you cannot. We girls and boys out there, you cannot shame the shameless. If you do, because some people's lick back with women they like and they cannot have is to make them pregnant and dark. But sometimes you think you are doing somebody because pregnancy is very violating to a certain extent.
It's so violating.
It's very violating in the sense that you take time out with the prenatal, the postnatal, getting your body back and trying to do that. And men know that. So if you play to that narrative as well and play victim or they love it. You know, like, because I've seen people on Tinashe Mugabe, it's my point of reference. Women going, I love Tinashe Mugabe. Shout out to my guy, Tinashe Mugabe.
Mom is your biggest fan. She watches it day and night.
Day and night.
Every single time you walk in, all you can hear is closure.
Yeah. DNA show, closure. DNA show.
Oh, and if you don't know what Tinashe Mugabe is, it's basically the Zim version of Maury.
Yeah.
And people go there to find out if the baby daddies are really the baby daddies.
There you go. And there are so many baddies on that. There's so many feminine icons on Tinashe Mugabe. I go there and I watch. Some go there being victim. I don't like the victims. They want to go, I don't like. I like the ones who fight.
There's fights on there.
I like the ones who fight. The ones who go, yeah. Or the ones, there was one recent, and there is this thing I've said, this is a theory, me and my other friend, shout out Gwen, she loves Tinashe Mugabe like I do, and I know she watches this podcast all the time. She loves Tinashe Mugabe. And there was this particular one, she's our favorite, right? She was being accused by the whole village basically at this point that she brought this child who wasn't theirs, but it turns out she came out victorious because it was their baby. She bust case. So all she was like,
dropped.
She was like, community, community,
this was Rosa Parks. What now?
Oh, I like women who, with their whole chest, take whatever the outcome is. You see, that's feminine icons for me. Whether the baby is theirs or the baby isn't. There was one of my favorite ones of all time was like, Tinashe, you said that this is not the baby daddy. Now you need to find me a new baby daddy because this one, you said he isn't. Now you have to find the other one. People like that. People who take life in their own strides. And that's what you have to do. If these boys are thinking that they are putting you down, because some men actually come to impregnate you to just, calm you down. They say, don't calm down, girls. Do not calm down. Be a baddie, carry that pregnancy, give birth, get back on your bag, carry on doing what you need to do.
I want to say, going back to Sister Dilemma, right? In a situation like that where you are unfortunate enough to procreate with a bomber class, and these are married, isn't it? Yeah. But this guy is clearly a bomber class.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, but this is the thing.
I'm saying?
This is like I've always said to you. I've decided to bow down because we've had so many dilemmas, and I picked this particular one.
Yeah.
Because I've never liked to do dilemmas. You know me, you know my stance on dilemmas. I've always said people ask you questions about things they already have answers to. And I think it's a waste of each other's time.
Yeah.
But I thought, what? If people keep on asking, I might as well answer. She needs to go back and babysit her man.
Yeah.
Because until I'll use Cardi B as a point of reference. When a man is dogging you and you're okay to be dogged by them, let them carry on whichever way they are going. Let them fight. Let them come with their issues on the internet. Let them play whatever it is. Relationships will play their own course. This that we are doing is we are just advising each other because to while up time. She knows what she wants to do. Probably you are speaking now. My baby girl is already back in her house fighting with this man.
Spinning with her boo. My man.
Yeah. So I think people know exactly what they need to do. People know how much strength, energy, courage they have for a relationship. When people go, why is she putting herself through that? She's got the energy to. Your level, your threshold. Some people's threshold is hell. They'll only leave a person kind of torture.
Yeah.
So they until they get to that point, they still can carry on. That's why I'm always saying when people are in relationships, just listen. Don't come out with any, because sometimes if you become an antagonizer to people's relationships.
Yeah, it's so true.
Some people come to you so that they can go to their man and go, we should just leave each other. I think just love your friends and listen to trust what they're saying.
You can't tell the girlies anything. Man.
No, you cannot.
You cannot tell the girlies pimp.
You cannot. And the other thing is, because there was this, I've got...
everyone needs to mind their own meow meow.
I've got my Mzukuru, right? We are very close. He's very funny. He's always sending me these weird memes. We were talking about this business of women and their men. Women and their men, you've got no chance. So this was one of the excuses, right? So this girl had left the boyfriend because the boyfriend was cheating, but now was explaining to her friends group when she had gone back. We sorted it out. It wasn't human hair. It was maize hair that was on the pillow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the corn, like.
Yeah, the corn hair. That was on the pillow.
Girl, be for real.
Oh, this was one of my friends. My friends used to fight with the husband a lot. And sometimes you see her with scratches, or sometimes she'd get a lick back.
They used to get physical.
Actually punch ups. And sometimes she would fight back, and sometimes he would fight back. And, it was very violent, their relationship. And so they, she'd get to a point where, in that moment when you're in anger, she'd call me and she's like, I'm leaving him, I'm leaving his ass. And she'd say things that you should have never told you, that, we've just gone through, an episode of STDs. I've just been on antibiotics for STDs, because she's angry, right? So she's telling you things in the moment the truth is coming out. She's telling you what this man is putting her through. And she was another one where the man decided to get her pregnant because she was a baddie in the streets, and this man just came and gave her a baby just to calm her down. And he kept on saying,
I've heard that thing, like,
and he kept on saying to her, no one is ever going to like you. You got 4 babies by 4 baby daddies. You're not going anywhere. And I think for a while, my friend bought into that narrative. She really bought into it, to the extent that she actually became Shadaya's sister. She would actually attack other women and became such a pick-me. we were not very good friends for a long time, because that's what she used to do. And I'm just thinking, you just new to this thing. Anyway, I think, and she's another one who had to go through it, the fighting, the being punched, and her punching back, for her to realize who she was. And when she realized who she was, and it just clicked on her. Sometimes it's not even what you say to people. They just wake up, maybe their ancestors, their great grandmother speaks to them in their sleep and says, who are you? And they just wake up and think, why am I doing this to myself? That's it. There's nothing that man can say to you or to yourself that is ever going to make you come up. You could even be 6 weeks pregnant or 6 weeks postpartum. When that clicks, you are ready, you are done. But it's an internal process. It's not external. It's not what people are telling you. Because sometimes then when you meet, they'll be like, at that time you'd say to me, Mrumoko is not it. And I'll tell my husband that that's what you were saying. So I'm saying this to say, these dilemmas, we do them because they while up time. But if any change is going to happen, it's going to be intrinsic. Even if you use the information that I'm telling you right now, you're at that point where you're ready to hear it.
Where you're ready to, that's the word.
Where you're ready to hear it. So girls, when you're out there, there's nothing wrong with being in a relationship, but knowing who you are. Be in a relationship for the right reasons. No man is going to complete you. No man is going to... You can't babysit a man out of Shiwuri. Even if she goes back to a marriage, she's just going back there to just see it in 4K, in HD, how this man is moving mad. So it's where she wants to be with her pregnancy, where is giving her the most peace. Is it at her mom's house or is it at the man's house? Wherever she wants to be, this is going to happen. This man was thinking, maybe if you're not, the only thing maybe he might not do is bring women back because you are there.
Girl.
I'm saying maybe. That's why I've used the word. That's why I was saying maybe, because I've used maybe, because I know that things have happened. I've had
Some men can be very extraordinary.
I've had men who've brought their girlfriends back and told their women to leave the bed because they want their girlfriends to lie on the bed. I've had things like that. So it's entirely up to this, my dilemma girlie, where she's the most at peace. If she's happier to be at home with her mom, please carry on, because with pregnancy you need a lot of peace of mind. But if she thinks she cannot rest until she goes back to her house, do that as well. There's nothing stopping you. There's nothing that's going to happen. Because before, I remember, you used to be told things like, oh, if you break Kunsungirwa, if you decide to go before time, your mother will suffer a nasty back ache.
Oh, gosh.
That's not going to happen. I'm telling you this. If you want to go back to your husband and babysit them, go and do that. But all I'm trying to say is, when we've got, I'm saying all this to say pregnancy, prenatal, postnatal is a very, very, very difficult time for women. That's when the majority of relationships start shaking. If you want to see your man in HK, in HKD, in real HKD boss, in real color, in technicolor,
in 4K,
get pregnant. I don't know what pregnancy does to people.
But why do people think that, having a baby, it's what's going to fix a relationship or mend a relationship, when children destabilize the best relationship?
They're called bandage babies. Because sometimes, culturally, I remember this when I was growing up. And I've heard this quite, my mom's sisters and my mom, and I've heard them speak like this. Like when men are moving really, or when you see your relationship, because then men then are not like the men now. Men then were about their responsibilities. You could never divorce your wife whilst they're carrying your child.
Yeah.
It was an unspoken rule. No matter, the bombo class of that time could never do it. It was an unspoken rule. Once a person, it was sort of like a stop button, a pause button. As soon as you get pregnant, that's it. You are not going anywhere. So that's why you can tell how difficult sometimes a relationship was with the amount of children in it. Because at some point it got really difficult and the woman decided to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So pregnancies, many children, most of us are bandage babies, because our mothers were doing it so that we could stay. And you'd say, and the other thing that mothers would say is, 17 where will I go? And also, you don't want to look like that bombo clutch to your in-laws as well, who sends their wife away with 8 children.
Yeah.
So you end up staying. The marriage is now loveless. Now garashoto. Just to be your antagonist. Every morning I wake up, you're seeing my ass, and you can't do anything about it because I've got all these kids. But these men these days do not care.
They don't give a heck.
They don't give a heck. So don't give birth to children, to trap men. Because children, my grandmother used to say this, a child is first and foremost yours.
Yeah, that's true,
That's what my grandmother used to say. Whenever she came to see us after giving birth, and my grandmother used to do rounds. When you give birth, my grandmother would come with a little present in that statement. This child, she would even pray it, Baba, mwana uyu ndewake pakutanga ozivaita kuti murume wake pechipiri. Because when men leave, they don't live with their children, they don't drag their children, unless if they are very good dads, they'll leave you with them. So ultimately, first and foremost, you are the parent. So don't have those children to trap men, because men will duck and you remain with that child, because that's what men do. Men and ducking and diving.
Are you saying men are for Christmas, children are for life?
Yes, men are for Christmas and children are for life. And always know that when you're having a child, first and foremost, they are yours. Yeah. That is one truth that I stayed with me that's why I've only had 2 children, because I realized how many can I cope with as mine.
Yeah.
Right? So if I can cope with 2 children, then that's so be it.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that we need to realize. When we're having babies, girlies, we're having them for ourselves. If then men decide to be, an active part of the because I've known people who are actually married and their husbands are not even active parents.
Yeah, they're single parents in a marriage. That's very, very common.
Yeah. So think about how many children you can physically cope with, you as the mother, ultimately. Because if you can cope with 10, have 10, My aunt, the one I was telling you, Auntie Julie, has got 8 children, and she coped with them very well. My uncle, love him to bits, he was never there. And I remember one time I actually asked him, and he couldn't remember the other two's name. It's like, you know. I'm like, Tudikut vanunzanani, Iva Avadika. You know, because he couldn't remember. And that's the nature of the game, is the nature of the beast. Don't shoot the messenger. That's what happens. Also, be kind to yourself. You know, it doesn't matter what people are saying. When you are pregnant and you cannot physically do it, Don't do it to impress anyone. And when you've given birth, even if the house goes upside down, tits up, you're going to be strong at some point to do it. How you are feeling inside probably is a reflection of outside. And you know, these things, the pressure we are put on by our parents through I've seen men who live in dives and they've not left. You know, so this thing that we try to be for everyone during that very vulnerable time of our lives, we need to stop it. And women also, we need to be kind to other women who are pregnant. I try to be kind to my friends when they're pregnant. I try to be as present as I can be for them, because I know what it is like. We are all our sisters' keepers, you know, and we should try, even if, you know, in passing, if you meet a pregnant woman out there, cheer them up, you know, because they need that. They're fighting for their lives. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mom. And that brings us to an end of episode 8.
Episode 8.
What's your question that you want the Bonfofo family to answer in the comments? Let's give them a question of the day.
Question of the day. What's the weirdest pregnancy myth that you've had? You know, I've heard that if you eat mazai, monoko amere foods. So tell me, what's the weirdest pregnancy myth you had? Some say dukajika guru mwana kanokudai neskin iri rough. So yeah. So let's talk about the weirdest pregnancy myth you've had, and also choose kindness.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for spending the last hour with us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Episode 9. Oh, do you know what? Before you go, don't forget to share this podcast. You know, these 1,000 people who are watching, please share, and let's become 2,000. And also don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.
Period.
Yeah. Pids.